Time to learn some basic knife cuts. Here we go. First up, the proper way to hold a knife. Booyah. All right, let's learn how to cut an onion. But first, make sure you have a towel underneath your cutting board. That way it won't slip. You can also use a wet paper towel underneath. All right, so cut your onion ends off, just like that, but leave the root intact. It's going to help keep all of your pieces together. Cut the onion in half and then peel it. I find it the easiest way to do that is by cutting it in half first. Alright, after that, then you want to put your hand flat on top of the half of the onion and then cut your onion widthwise, just like that. We're going to end up making 3 cuts. So that's the first cut. Here's the second cut. You can see how it was done there. And then the third cut. So they're right on top of each other and you have equal cuts in between. Alright, now you're just going to take your knife and go along the top of the onion, half, and you want to make about a 1/2 inch slices, and you want to go all the way to the root. Like I said, it shouldn't fall apart too much because the root keeps it intact. Now, I have my hand like that is because you want to keep your fingers tucked away from the knife so you don't cut yourself, okay? So you just go down and cut it, just like that, and you get a lovely, lovely dice. So this was a medium. I'm sorry, this was a large dice. Should be a large dice. Okay, so now I did the same thing with the other half of the onion. And now I'm going to do a medium sized dice. So it was the exact same thing. I just cut it a little wider so that I could get a medium size. Oh, sorry, a little smaller to get a medium sized dice. And there you go, you can see the difference. Actually, it looks like I did the medium dice first and then the large. So, whatever, doesn't matter. So now, small dice. Now the only difference here is that I made 4 cuts instead of 3 cuts like we did with the other onions. Okay, because you want it to get it smaller. You want a smaller dice, so you need a little more cuts. And again, you want to make more cuts across the top of the onion as well. Thinner cuts. So you get smaller dice. Okay, and then again, make smaller, thinner cuts along the top so you get a smaller dice. The wider it is, the bigger the dice. And there you go. You can see the difference. Perfect. Alright, now to slice an onion. Now I peeled it and I actually cut off the end this time because you don't need it. You don't need to hold everything together. Okay, so cut it in half. And then you're just going to slice down with your knife there. Just slice it down, and how thick or thin you want it is totally up to you. It's totally what the recipe calls for. Completely up to you. But it's the same motion no matter how thick or thin you want it to be. Perfect. So there's an example of it. Lovely. And then of course you can pull it apart a little bit. I mean, I do this part in my pan. I just kind of break it up with my little bamboo spatula thing. Perfect. There you go. Sliced onion. Alright, now we're going to cut a potato. So, I have a medium-sized potato there, unpeeled, always, because that's where all the vitamins and nutrients are. And I cut it into thirds. just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to work with the middle third. So I'm going to cut that one into 4 pieces, to 4 strips. Okay. Now I'm going to take one of those pieces and cut that in half. And what you get is called a batonette. It's about 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 2.5 inch. Take that and cut that in half, and you get the allumette, which is about 1/4, 1/4, 2.5 inches. Okay, cut that in half, and you get julienne. Probably get it a little bit smaller than that, but that's my julienne. That's what we are doing. And that's about 1/8 inch by 1/8 inch by 2.5 inch. Now you're going to take your batonette, chop it to make about 1/2 inch cubes, and then you get a large dice. Perfect. Then you're going to take your allumette stick. Forgive my pronunciation. It's terrible, I know. It's all French. And cut that like you did with the large dice, and you get a medium dice. Ta-da! And then you're going to do the same thing with your julienne. Chop it into cubes. Should be 1/4 by 1/4 by 1/4. And that is your small dice. You can see the difference right there. Large, medium, and small. Perfect. So that's how you cut up a potato with your various sizes. Now, with a carrot, it's about the same. It's about the same. I'm going to cut off the ends here, and it's a peeled carrot. Okay. So you're just going to cut it. I'm going to cut this carrot into 4 pieces. Now, depending on how long your carrot is, it might be 5. But they should be about 3 to 4 inches in length, each piece. So now what I'm doing is just trimming every side of the carrot, just to get it square. We're trying to get a nice square piece. So we'll have nice, even matchsticks and dice. You'll see in a second. Now, this of course is if you're going to get all fancy, you know. But those pieces, usually I don't even bother to trim them. I just cut it and make it and use as much as I can because I hate wasting. But this is if you're going to go fancy, okay? Alright, so once I have my cube, as you saw, I squared it up. I cut it into 3 pieces, like that. And then each one of those pieces I cut in half. And there you go. Your batonette. Approximately. Like I said, if you don't get the exact dimensions, it's fine. Cut that in half. Allumette. And then you cut that one in half, the allumette, and you get, come on, cut it. There you go. A julienne. Awesome. Alright, and just like with the potato, you're just going to cut your batonette into cubes. And you get a large dice. And you're going to do the same thing with your allumette and with your julienne. Now, take note. Okay. You notice how I'm pushing the food into my knife? That's exactly how you're supposed to cut, okay? The knife isn't supposed to move side to side. It's only supposed to move up and down in a sawing motion, okay? So think of your knife as like a wood chipper, and you're just feeding the wood chipper. So it doesn't go anywhere. Wood chippers don't move, right? You put the wood into the chipper. So that's exactly what you're doing here. You're feeding food to your knife. Voila. Get chopping, y'all.